Hey guys! So I'm going to wait a few moments here to let Instagram tell everyone that we are getting started, and then also for Blanche to join us. So hopefully you are having a good week so far. It is only Wednesday, but hump day. All right. So I can see Instagram's telling me that they're telling our followers or my followers to join the video. So bear with me for a few moments. And I'm waiting for Blanche to join us. So Blanche, I can tell you a little bit about her. Oh, there she is. Awesome. Let me see how I get you to join. Oh, here we go. Send request. Hey!
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. Let me try to adjust.
Yes,
You know, I always crops your face in weird places.
I know. I like have half a head.
Yeah. How are you doing?
I am doing good. I'm also trying to adjust here. Just hanging out.
Yeah.
Doing the thing. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I got called, fun story, got called into work last minute. So I'm in the break room doing this live. So I'm like, this is fun. I cleared it with my manager, but I was like, so yeah, I can go into work. Someone was exposed to COVID. So like they're having to give up all their shifts.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I just have this like little thing at 10 o'clock that I'm doing. So it's fine. So that's why you see like all this weird stuff.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for giving us your time. I really appreciate it. And I'm excited to have this conversation. So
I know, me too.
Well, let's go ahead and jump into it then. So just why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, about your business, just a little bit more information so people can get to know you.
Yeah. Okay. So, before I start, because I have to say this, your hair looks real cute. I don't know if you got a haircut recently. I like reposted that story and I had one of my followers be like, I'm sorry, I can't focus. Her bangs look super cute.
It's because they're freshly trimmed and I can see.
There's nothing better than like freshly trimmed bangs.
The guy at Starbucks said the same thing. I was like, I got a haircut. It's my friend Sandra. She's great.
That's awesome. Okay, so hey, my name is Blanche Schuchardt. I am the owner of Rooted Strength Coaching, and I absolutely love it. It is a online fitness coaching business, and so I coach women, and I basically teach and empower women how to level up their fitness without sacrificing their overall health. So whereas in high school, we trained for sports, right? In adulthood, we train for health. And so that's what we're doing without kind of just leveling up our fitness without kind of sacrificing our overall health. And I define health as a disclaimer for mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual health, like all the above, right? We want to pursue that. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. So what kind of brought you to wanting to focus with that demographic of people?
Yeah. So, okay. In 2015, prior to this, I was a life coach and I loved it. I didn't love the population that I was coaching. I won't tell you which one it was, but it was not my strong suit. And so I was doing that, right? And then I, at the same time, was kind of reclaiming my health and fitness personally. I had a hiatus due to personal reasons. I was going back into health and fitness. And then while I was doing that, I had 3 babies in 4 years. So there was a lot of me being in the thick of prenatal and postpartum care within America, pregnant and postpartum myself for 5 years straight. So, yeah.
She's got 3 kids.
Yes. So I have 3 kids. My oldest is 5. And then I have a 3-year-old and then I have a 1.5-year-old. So there was like a solid 6 months where all of them were under 4 and it was a party. So that kind of intersection of me living and trying to figure out like how to do this well, really like lit a fire in me to like be the coach I never had. And so I actually don't love going by the verbiage of a coach or trainer, but at the same time, like I'm here to change the narrative because you have these thoughts and preconceptions of what a coach is or what a trainer is, right? Because we've had all of our experiences of people sliding into our DMs that call themselves a coach. And we bear the same name, but we're very different. And so it's kind of like, no, I'm actually here to change that narrative and to actually have to uncomplicate your fitness and to allow you to feel empowered and strong and to know what sustainable fitness actually looks like for your season. So that's kind of like where I came from and why I decided to do it. So because of that, 3 babies in 4 years, I love and focus on pregnant and postpartum women, but women in general. So if you're preconception or if you're beyond postpartum, I still coach them too. Like I love basically coaching women.
And that's what's going to be my next question is like, are you only focusing on the pregnant ones or the people who just gave birth? And like, also, you know, postpartum, I mean, you're postpartum forever. Like how long is that? So just talking about the different types of clients that you have, I mean, is that, so what are your focus areas, I guess, with them, like the people?
Yeah. So it definitely started. So fun fact, Rooted Strength Coaching was Strong Mama Fitness. If all of y'all have been here long enough, y'all know that. But for those newer ones, I remember Googling but like checking all of the Instagram handles of like any combination between strong and mom and fitness. Like, this is what I'm going to be about, you know? And as I grew and my business grew, I realized like, wow, that's always going to be the heart and focus of my business. I'm wanting to really serve all women because I realized, you know, there's so much in pregnancy that when you've become pregnant, you're like on a learning curve for 2 years straight, like consistently, both with your body and your baby and like everything. And I'm like, if I could get some of these basic strategies in the hands of people who know they're wanting to get pregnant and they're trying to conceive, that's going to set them up for success. And so I have an actually before the bump program, and I kind of partnered with a nutritionist, a dietitian, because
that's awesome.
It's so important to actually learn and have a good relationship with food before you go into that. Because if you have like any weird things with food, which I had all of them, it like kind of just heightens it during pregnancy and postpartum because of many things. You know, you have the like eat for 2, and then you have like breastfeeding, and then you have like the healing, and then you have, you know, all of the inner workings with that. So I do before, like if you're a woman who's intentionally trying to conceive, then I definitely have, like I focus on that all the way through postpartum. And I view postpartum is basically from like when you have that baby till about 1 year postpartum is I would kind of like have you in the group of me intentionally training you for postpartum. If you're 1+ year, then I don't have you focused on postpartum, but there's still many women who I will kind of focus on rehab for at least 4 to 6 weeks with them, because I found that like they never rehabbed their core or they've never connected back to their pelvic floor. And it doesn't take forever, but it does take an intentional time to kind of like reconnect and then build from there.
Yeah. And I think that's important too, because I mean, you're right talking about changing the narrative. And I talked a little bit about this in my story yesterday, but like people have this mindset that I have to get back to my pre-baby weight. And I have so many mamas who are like, yeah, I'm going to go back to the gym. I'm going to do this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, but are you doing it right?
Yeah.
You know what you're doing? Are you going to hurt yourself? And that's when I oftentimes recommend you, because I know that you know what to do and what's going to be safe. Right. I think it's important to have that guidance. And, you know, it's great. So awesome. Thank you. So I guess my next question here is, how is what you offer different than what other fitness professionals offer? Like, why is what you do important? Why would somebody want to come to you versus doing something on their own? Or
Yes. So I love this question when you said it, because I feel like there's 2 parts. And the first one is that I think what makes a good trainer and coach is kind of the combination of these 3 things. And I mentioned this on my stories, and I think even in a static post recently when I talked about conscious consumerism. Like, I want my people who follow me to be a conscious consumer. If they don't like pick me to be their coach, that's totally fine. I just want them to think critically about their decisions of who they want to coach them. And that looks like, for me, the 3 things is experience, credentials, like are you qualified? And then your values. because your values seep into your programs, right? And so I have 3 kids in 4 years, and so I have plenty. And like when people say every pregnancy is different, every pregnancy is different, and every birth is different, and every postpartum is different. And so I don't have all of the variations that it could look like, but I have a wide variety of how my body handled each pregnancy, right? And then as far as like credentials, if you will, or certifications, like I've taken multiple certifications. I'm super passionate about like trainers knowing their stuff and it not just being based on their experience. Because if it's just based on your experience, you're going to have a bias towards what you think it should look like. And when your client doesn't line up with that, you're going to be confused, right? And so when you have that actual evidence-based care and understanding of what it looks like, you have a more broad and fulfilled understanding of like what care can look like and what programming can look like for a client. You pair that with values, which mine are advocacy, autonomy, and growth. That is what makes me different than any other trainer. Like when you enter into my programs, specifically for Blossom Strong program, you will learn and how to self-advocate, like women's fitness in general. I was tired of seeing like the gap of advocacy and autonomy and growth in women's fitness. It was just like, here's this program, you do it, and it's just like, I'm going to put you in the system and you're going to go. Just like in the hospital, like you're going to get put in the system and you're going to go. And however you're not playing an active role, right? And so I kind of teach women how to play an active role in their fitness also throughout pregnancy. And so through pregnancy and postpartum, it's all about making like informed decisions on what works for you, because you are an expert in your own body, right? And once you have the information and education, like then you can make an informed decision, and we work together to make the best program for you. So it's different in that there's going to be a ton of education with your own self, both with your physical body. You'll learn a lot about your body, but you'll learn a lot about your mindsets and how you approach fitness and how you can level up both of those things. And so I think that's a huge difference that I incorporate within my programs because of that. So yeah, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. And, I think it's so important to have the right mindset, because you're right. I mean, a lot of times, there's programs out there that's just like, okay, here, just do that. But they don't really know much about the person or what they're going through, what their body can do. Right. And the person's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do all these things. And again, they could end up injuring themselves or maybe feel defeated because they're not reaching the goal that they want to reach. And it might not be the right goal for them. And having that person to kind of talk to about it and like really dial down certain things, I think is key, especially for success and, being realistic about goals and that kind of stuff. So I think that's great. That's awesome. So
I can talk about it.
Huh?
I said I could talk all day about it. So.
I know. So, and tell me if this is within your scope or not, but could what you do be considered like preventative care or some sort of rehabilitative care? I mean, not necessarily from an injury, obviously, but, from just, being pregnant and having a child. I mean, your body's so different and changing.
Yes. I love this because it gets into the conversation of bridging the gap between healthcare and fitness. And so I'll say from the beginning, I'm not a physical therapist or a chiropractor, nor do I pretend to be. Not my thing. I have amazing people that I can refer you to that I trust with my own body and my own story. So like, let me know if you're looking for one of those. And so just disclaimer, or like plug, whatever. And so, but I do feel like in the realm of fitness, there's like this gray area where it's like, the PTs will do hands-on work for physical therapy and pelvic floor therapy, and the chiropractors will help your body function well and making sure your nervous system's talking well, right? And you're aligned and all of those glorious things. And then even within that, I feel like started to kind of blur lines, and there's a lot of manual therapy, myofascial release, like all of these awesome things that can help your body prehab and rehab from birth. And as far as fitness is concerned, I kind of go into that conversation about giving you strategies on how to move your body well with this season. And so I don't do any kind of hands-on work. I mean, also just me being online, like I'm never going to physically touch 99.9% of my clients. And so, but at the same time, as an example, I do a lot of what I refer to as like prehab breath work for my pregnancy clients. One of the main reasons that I kind of encourage women to work out during pregnancy and to become aware of their body in pregnancy is that is essentially prehab for postpartum, because so much has changed in postpartum. If you have like body awareness on lock and you have like being able to engage your core and lengthen your core and do both with your pelvic floor, and you're just aware, it's going to be a way more seamless transition postpartum than if you just kind of worked out, maybe you didn't at all, and then postpartum, like everything is different and you're like having trouble connecting to even those muscles down there. Right. And so, I do even see how I play a part in the conversation. I definitely, again, don't do any hands-on work for rehab. But I will work very much in tandem with a PT who assigns specific exercises to their clients. Like if we're working together, I've had women who have gone to a PT and they're like, oh yeah, you're actually programming a lot of the same exercises for me that my PT did in recovery. And I'm like, yeah, it's because we've just worked together so long, so anyways.
And that's so funny, because and another thing I wanted to ask, oftentimes when I work on people and I, me and a PT or me and a chiropractor or somebody have the same client or patient, I'm always asking them, hey, talk to that person or have them talk to me about what it is that you're working on so we can help you more effectively and efficiently. Yes. So do you find that you're talking with their other healthcare providers, or are you open to that? Or what does that look like?
Yeah, I love that question. I'm definitely open to it. Sorry, I just got a text message. So half your face got covered. And so I was like, what? So I'm definitely open to it. I'm all about collaboration. So background, even before my whole life coaching gig, I majored in community development, and I wrote this huge long paper about the importance of organizations working together to actually help communities. And so I carry that same principle into providers working together to serve the client, and so I am 150% game for talking to chiropractors and PTs and all the people my client is seeing. And that can look like me kind of sitting in as a FaceTime call and in an appointment, kind of into it as that, or as hey, just let me know. Maybe I get their email. Maybe I talk to the client and they ask questions and we have a conversation through my client. But it can be as much or as little as my client wants.
Mm-hmm. I think that's so important. And, even as a business owner, it's sometimes, especially if you're a solo practitioner type of person, it can be lonely. And, it's great to make those different connections, which is just wonderful. So yeah, awesome. I love that. That's great. Okay. So my next question, how do you feel fitness and massage work together?
I love that question.
Me too.
Yeah. So I think, so how fitness and massage, but then also how pregnancy and postpartum, I'm throw that in there too, all work together is, so I experientially had the privilege to work at a massage therapist office when I was pregnant. And I could get a massage every month, and I noticed a visible difference, in just the quality of my movement and being able to I could tell a difference, and it was amazing. And that's when I was wow, investing into a chiropractor or a massage therapist and or both, monthly, I think hands down is so important for health in general. Specifically when your body's going through a million changes a week, Yeah. So there's that. But in terms of fitness specifically, I love it. I think it's really, really, really good recovery. And so if you're going through a program that you're wanting to get some strength gains, or you're wanting to focus on some hypertrophy, I think it's great recovery work. So scheduling in that monthly massage to really just give your muscles a like relaxation to help down regulation, specifically in postpartum, I think it's really, really good for what I just mentioned of down regulation. Your like life is stressed AF for the first like 6 months to a year of postpartum because so much is changing. You know, you're having to figure out how to feed your baby. You're having to figure out how to care for your baby. You're having to figure out how to care for this like human living thing that can't do anything. And then you're like figuring out your role as a mother, like, and then life on top of that, like all the other relationships. And so carving out that time to really de-stress your body, I think is super important. Like, I won't get into like the load versus capacity rule, but like the motherhood load, like what you go into a workout with is extremely important to know and be aware of in choosing your workout regimen. If you are not getting sleep at night, if you're not being able to fuel yourself well because the baby's up eating every 3 hours and you're like managing on goldfish snacks from your toddler, and then like you're stressed because both are going through mental development, and then you have like home management, and then you have like all of the muscle imbalances that are maybe being created because you're sitting down and holding the baby all day. All of those things are stress and load on your body. And then you go into the regular like group fitness class, and then you wonder why you tweaked your back.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't the group fitness class. It wasn't actually that movement. It was all of the load beforehand, you know? And so how this interacts with massage is that it gives your body like space to just relax and like recover, you know? And then you have more margin for that capacity to actually do the workouts you're wanting to, right? So I think it's one of the many strategies to help de-stress your body, in short.
Yeah. And I think that makes a lot of sense. When I was pregnant, I wasn't doing, I didn't even realize all the resources out there when I was pregnant. I wasn't doing like a regular fitness routine, but I was a mobile massage therapist, and I didn't have wheels on my table. Yeah, I would carry it. And so carrying lots of things, sometimes up and down flights of stairs, but I was getting massage, you know, every 2 weeks. And I worked up until 2 weeks before I was due. I was 2 weeks late. So pretty much up until my due date.
Yeah.
Just a number, you guys. It's not an actual, that's when you're having your baby.
Yes.
But I felt a huge difference. And I think you're right. Like, I was able to do more physical activity, being able to get that massage, which I think is really, really important. And so when you add in stuff like a fitness routine, it can be definitely beneficial just to help mentally clear your space and, you know, physically help. So do you have any tips, by the way, about best practices when you're working out and trying to incorporate self-care?
Yeah. So, okay. Best tips. I would say, I mean, what I was just sharing, like really kind of figuring out your schedule and load, and like, even don't just like start working out, like, and not have a plan or not have a goal of like what you're actually doing. Cause then just because you're running hard doesn't mean you're running down the right road. So there's that. If you're starting to work out, figure out a plan. I have a goal setting freebie that like you can go to my website and just download, because I care so much about this aspect and it takes you through specifically how to make a good goal for you. And so we ask those questions of like, how many hours a week are you working? How much sleep are you getting? How much margin do you have in your week? So if you're having like a really heavy schedule, is it really realistic for you to work out 4 times a week right now?
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah.
I'm like, I want to go download that.
Yes. And so I think that would be my quick tip, is like get specific and understand your season, and set goals for you in terms of your fitness, so that you know where you're going and you know when you hit it, and then you can like give yourself a clap.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that. And I think it's great that you kind of lay it out, like, because sometimes when you just think, oh, I'll just, you know, like this week I was like, I'm going to meditate 3 times this week. Well, you know, do I actually have time to do that? My kid's not going to sleep at night, you know? And so being able to like see it all laid out, I think is so important. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Great. So my next question is, so what does a session with you look like? Because I know that you mentioned here that you're doing online, and I think sometimes people get kind of stuck. Well, like, it's online, I don't know, I don't really have that relationship, that connection. So can you explain to us or describe to us what session would look like?
Yes, I love that question. Okay, so in short, there's two different things that women can invest in and kind of work with me in, and that is one-on-one coaching and the Blossom Strong program. So the Blossom Strong program is a little bit different in that it's a group coaching program. And so what that would look like is they would like hit and like purchase, you know, and then from there they get taken to a like app where they can have access to it. And then I start emailing them a consultation form. So like a bunch of different questions. And then the first kind of step is us having an introduction meeting where it's like a consultation, like, and it's like at least 90 minutes. We talk about all the things. We talk about how much they want to like basically from that meeting, I take the program and adjust it to them to figure out like, all right, she wants to work out 2 times a week. This is what's going to work for her. She wants to work out 5 times a week. She has that capacity and margin. Let's adjust that, you know, making it like their desires and goals and kind of working with that. And there's a couple different movement screens that I do to kind of see the state of their body to figure out if there's certain movements that we need to sub out or modify for this season. And then through there, there's just a lot of, we have like a group coaching chat, like in the app itself. And then we have monthly one-on-one calls. And that is just kind of like to touch base. It can be as short as long as that person wants. If they have like a million questions, then I answer all of them. And if they're like, everything's going great, then I'm like, awesome. Like, and we can talk about whatever we want, like, you know, and I have a lot of complimentary, like educational resources. So the Bump Fit Guide and the Mom Fit Guide that they can purchase and download that kind of helps walk them through. We go a lot through this in the Blossom Strong program. So that's kind of like the Blossom Strong program. And you can ask me questions with that. The one-on-one looks a little different because it's 100% personalized to this person. And there's way more touch points. And so we'll have like a weekly check-in or a bi-weekly check-in, and kind of talk through like, hey, how did you handle this workout? What do we need to change or shift? Like, how are we going to progress this? How did these strategies work? Like those kind of things. And so I don't know if that answers your questions. There's like I could go super detailed. I kind of went like more broad so that I could talk about both. But
no, I think that is, and if people have questions that they want to ask specifically about your programs or about how you work with people, feel free to start typing them into the comments. But I did want to mention, Blanche has done like various things on Instagram. So for example, during the summer, she did this 2-week step challenge. Yeah. And I just want to say how impressed I was because one, it was free. So I did not expect the level of care that, I mean, and that sounds bad, but like you checked in with us, like, and I don't even know how many people were in that thing. I know it was like 10, maybe 5, 10, something like that. But like she checked in with us individually, like almost every day or every couple of days. And it was for 2 weeks. And I just, for something that was free, and I just was impressed with the amount of attention that you gave us. Which I think is really important because like, what kind of attention are you going to give somebody who you're actually working with? So I just wanted to compliment you on that because I was very blown away by it.
And that's something that it came from experience. I signed up for a coaching program, one of the few that I did. One of the only ones that I signed up for. And this coach communicated a lot of things, but then when it started the program, like there was absolutely no check-ins. Like I was by myself and I was like, I'm sorry, I don't understand. Like I paid for this. And like you said, you're my coach and like, you're not coaching me, like, you know? And so when I say that I'm here to change the narrative and like having that advocacy, autonomy, and growth really instilled in women's fitness, like that's part of the reason. It's like, I want you to feel supported and guided and empowered to really advocate for yourself and ask those questions. Like there's never a question that's too stupid, in my opinion, especially when it comes to fitness and health. And so, yeah, like there's a lot of access to me and a lot of like quick check-ins throughout the week.
Yeah, I really love that. So thank you. Thank you for that. So do you have any tips in general? I mean, maybe you see, I mean, I know you see a certain demographic, but is there something like a condition or something that they have that you see quite frequently that you can give a tip on, or is there an exercise or stretch?
I'm going to try to, we'll see how this works.
Okay. Oh, I'm excited. What's happening?
I'm trying to figure out like a way to show you guys this stretch. Okay. It'll work. Use your imagination. So part of what is really common in pregnancy and postpartum is a flare-up of carpal tunnel.
That's weird, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so just some of the swelling and things, I mean, pregnancy is just, there's a large variation of normal. All that to say, there's this medial nerve flossing technique that I use with my clients. And I just actually used it with one of them who was getting a lot of numbness in the middle of the night. And after she did it, like she had an evening session that night, she slept great. And she's like, oh my gosh, I think it helped. I'm like, I know, our bodies are amazing. So I wanted to show you guys if any of y'all are struggling with this or happen to struggle with it. So you're basically going to take the left or a hand, place it down on the wall. You can see it's faced down. And then you're going to bend your neck the other way, and you should feel it all the way up, that nerve, all the way kind of up into your shoulder.
Oh, yeah. I'm not even on a wall, and I feel it.
Yeah. And then you go down. And then to make it more intense, you lower your hand, and then you do it. And then you can even go a little bit, like, tilt outward, and then do it. And so all of that really helps. And you can, it doesn't have to be for a crazy long time, just like 5 to 10 seconds per side. Do that 2 or 3 times, like literally. Yeah. So I love it. It's like one of those hacks that I'm like all about.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I often give, different stretches like that as well. So it's great to see other practitioners are doing the same thing. Again, we're all working towards the same goal to make you feel better, faster, and more safely. So that's wonderful. So do you have any additional resources that you can share? I know there's a couple of projects and things that you're involved in. Yes. I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. Okay. So real quickly, I have Blossom Strong Coaching is my main like service program that I'm launching at the end of January that I'm stoked about. And again, please message me if you have any questions. I'm going to be talking way more about it on my page. You can follow me. And also like I'll have all of the things like literally coming. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff happening. So that is a resource and a service. But then I have these 2 educational, I love that, Adrian. Yay, stretching. So I have these 2 educational documents because these are basically for anyone who's like, okay, I either cannot afford or don't have the time or resources to do like one-on-one coaching or a program, but I want to know like, please give me direction. This is for you. It's the Bump Fit Guide and the Mom Fit Guide. And both are like 30 plus pages full of amazing information of all things movement. Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm on low battery. But all things movement, fitness, and pregnancy or postpartum related. So, and again, I kind of talked a lot about it on my Bump Fit launched in December and Mom Fit's launching this week. And so like in a couple days, I haven't talked about it as a lot because again, there's a lot of background things in my business and I'm like getting my crap together. And so I'm going to be talking more about it literally in the next few days, but both of those are kind of downloadable PDFs, or you can view it as an educational resource that you can refer back to throughout pregnancy and postpartum.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What about your podcast?
Duh. Thanks for that. So my podcast, I love it. It's actually one of the reasons why I've been off of Instagram and not really like, I used to post every day and now I'm posting like 3 times a week because I'm focusing more on my podcast. My podcast, I am a co-host and me and my friend Esther, she was actually a client turned friend turned co-host on this podcast. She is like really into the running scene and I'm really into like the strength training scene. So we like have a good marriage of movement, but it's a mom-to-mom podcast of finding confidence, hope, fitness, training, and growth throughout your motherhood transition. That's our tagline. And I love it. We have like tons of episodes and we have a really cool lineup for this season. So you can find it at the Blossom Strong podcast. Anywhere that you listen to podcasts, you can find it.
And I will say it is really awesome. And I definitely have referred clients to specific episodes because I've actually binged it for like a weekend because I was like, wow, this is really good information.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. So I find it so helpful. You guys are, really, warm and approachable and just educationally provide so much good information that I think more moms need to be aware of. So thank you for that. And, it's just another resource. So I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. So lastly, I guess, what are some best ways to connect with you?
Yes. So podcast, you can email us at, actually don't email us. You can you can connect to our podcast, like our IG. So like email or message us on Blossom Strong Podcast.
DM. Slide into your DMs.
Thank you. Yeah, slide into my DMs. You can slide into my personal business account, Rooted Strength Coaching. And then you can email me, blanche@strongmama.fitness. It will eventually change. I'm not a tech person, and so that's my old branding, whatever. But it's blanche@strongmama.fitness. You can email me. And then you can also hop on any of my email lists if you just want to stay up to date. So again, just go to my profile, link in bio, and you can sign up for Coffee with B. If you sign up for that, you get like weekly short like emails that you can like read while you're drinking your cup of coffee. But then you'll also get the monthly mashup and then just big updates with my business. So
awesome. Thank you so much. I know you probably have to get back to work. I've got an appointment in about 20 minutes. But thank you for talking with us. I appreciate it. And if you guys have any questions at all, feel free to slide in her DMs, or when I post this video, you can post questions in the comments. But thank you.
Have a good day, Nicole. Thank you so much.
See ya.